We have live coverage tonight from Las Vegas, or I should say Hog Vegas, to the natural state. Neil Zarang and Nick Walters joining us. Nick, set things up for tonight's big game.
Guys, right about now, Las Vegas could be called the college basketball entertainment capital of the world. Right here at T-Mobile Arena, we got Hog fans running rampant, coming from Central Arkansas and all over the state to see these Hogs try to make their third straight Elite Eight appearance. We're now inside an hour before they play UConn in the Sweet 16 as they try to make it to the next round. And ironically, we've been in the quiet of the storm, and now we are right smack dab in it. And with a partly cloudy sky, it just started raining on us. An analogy of maybe the Razorbacks season, as it was up and down, and now as an anomaly, they are in the Sweet 16 for the third straight year, and they can make history right here in Las Vegas. Of course, all these fans are die-hard, making the trip, paying all the money to come here, and they're hoping to be entertained just like they were by the Kansas Jayhawks being downed as Arkansas beat a #1 seed for the second straight year in March Madness. So again, we are only inside an hour before tip-off, 6:15 right here in Las Vegas in Central Arkansas time. And hey, we got a few of these Arkansas fans right here. Come in, guys. Lifelong Hog fans from Fayetteville. Let's get your names, guys.
Hi, I'm Cooper Shit.
Hi, I'm Barton DeJarnett.
Hi, I'm Bauer Baldwin.
I'm Anna Lee Baldwin.
I'm Martin Ship.
All right, guys. You guys are about to help us call the Hogs. Ready? All right, ready? Whoa! Pig! Suey! Whoa! Suey. Whoa. Pig Suey. Razorbacks. It's Nick Walters live in Las Vegas. Woo Pig. We'll send it back to you.
Nick Walters and the crew.
The energy in that arena, it has to be so high right now.
Well, we're outside the arena right now, Madison. I'll tell you what, if you can't tell, it is energetic and it is electric because the Hog calls are out. We got fans from all over Arkansas who made the trip, dropping tons of money, and they have made it. But hey, more importantly, the Hogs have made it. The Razorbacks just an hour ago arrived off of their bus, obviously bringing their bags. But here's the question, did they bring that lightning in a bottle that they found in Des Moines when they were able to beat Illinois and knock off 1 seed Kansas and beating a 1 seed for the second straight year, and now facing UConn, a 4 seed, but Nick Smith, after a very powerful SEC tournament, has gone quiet as of late. So the question is, can Nick Smith, the North Little Rock native, find his groove when it matters most to make the Hogs' third straight Elite Eight appearance? He says that Muss has helped him along in getting back in that groove.
Just time, just timing on everything I'm doing. Just being patient with myself, just letting it, letting the game develop, into one of the games I want to have. But Coach Muss, been telling me since I came back, just be you, just be yourself, and he's gonna ride with me no matter what. So, just having somebody like that just to boost my confidence.
Yeah, all the hundreds of Hog fans out here would hope for a resurgence game from Nick Smith Jr. But of course, in the Des Moines tournament, in the round of 64 and 32, it was enough for Ricky Council and Devo Davis to make it here to the Sweet 16. But it might take more from the big men against a UConn team whose strength lies in the paint. But for right now, it is only about 20 minutes away from tip-off, almost game time here in Las Vegas. We can't wait for it. And coming up at 6:30, we'll have live updates and more from the Razorbacks.
I think we should start with Vegas. Nick, what's going on?
Yeah. Guys, look, ever since we got back from Des Moines, we've talked about so many storylines. Devo, Ricky, adversity, and of course, beating #1 Kansas. And eventually, you just got to go out and play some basketball. And that's exactly what Arkansas is doing right now behind me in T-Mobile Arena, playing 4-seed UConn in the Sweet 16 and fighting for their third straight Elite Eight berth. Now, just about 15 or 30 minutes ago, this place right here was swarming with Hog fans. Now, it's a lot more Gonzaga and UCLA. However, we do have one special fan who is a part of the group with me right here, and his name is Brandon, a 1995 graduate of U of A. And Brandon, you're looking snazzy, my friend. You got better attire than me.
We're in Las Vegas, Sweet 16. I have not been to see my Razorbacks since 1995 when we lost UCLA. Now, just a little better. I'm going to root harder We're going to win today, right?
Yeah, Brandon, I thought I made a long trip. You came from Costa Rica for this trip, living in Costa Rica for a decade.
I mean, this is my team.
Coming all the way across the globe to watch your Razorbacks, what made you want to do this with this team?
Good friends, family. There's a past, there's a life. This is my school, and I love my people.
This is what die-hard Hog fans do, come across the world just to watch the Sweet 16 and maybe see his Hogs make an Elite 8 trip. Thanks, Brandon.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe. We're about to find out, and we'll have that coverage coming up on Fox 16 at 9. Guys.
Maybe?
Really?
Come on, Nick.
Go ahead and paint the picture for us. How was it in Las Vegas?
Well, Madison, half an hour ago, the pavilion outside T-Mobile Arena was full of Razorback red, and they were rowdy, ready to see their Hogs make a third straight Elite 8 trip. Since then, they went inside, and now they're not in as great of a mood because 7 minutes left in the first half. The Razorbacks were trailing by 15 points. So right now, 4-seed UConn in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't say dominating the Razorbacks because it's so early, but I want to remind fans out there, hopefully there's no one who is watching CBS and decided, I don't want to watch this nonsense and tuned into Fox. But I was there in Des Moines for the Kansas game, and Kansas was ahead by double digits, even leading at halftime. Arkansas would then become the first team in NCAA tournament history to beat Kansas after Kansas led. So right now it's college basketball. Listen, anything can happen. Things can turn around so fast, and it's a game of runs. This Arkansas team has talked about that all season long. So stay tuned. We will soon find out if the Hogs can make another comeback just like they did in Des Moines and make the Elite 8.
But first, let's head out to Vegas to Fox 16's Nick Walters. And Nick, UConn's shooting percentage, over 60%. That's tough to beat, but boy, our boys, they fought to the bitter end.
Guys, make no mistake, the anticipation was through the roof just 3 hours before here, and for good reason, after the Hogs knocked off 1-seed Kansas, making their third straight Sweet 16 appearance. And a lot of Hog fans out here making the Hog calls thought they had a really good chance to win. But not even the strongest of UConn fans would have thought such a lopsided score. Final score here at T-Mobile Arena, 88-65, as the Hogs' run ends in the Sweet 16 here in Vegas. And of course, the story of this one, it was narrow in the early portions of the game, but that is until UConn went on a 14-point run midway through the first half, and then the Razorbacks went down 17 points. And we talked before this game that a huge crucial issue with the Razorbacks could be down low, as UConn's biggest strength is their big men, and they were bullied in the paint tonight. UConn outscoring the Hogs in the lane 42-24 as far as scoring goes. Devo was the star last Saturday in Des Moines. This team that we saw in Iowa just did not show up. Devo with 3 points. Of course, Anthony Black leading the team with 20 points. Ricky Council still playing a strong game with 17 points. Nick Smith with 11, more than the 0 points he had on Saturday, but still not enough for the Razorbacks to come out on top of UConn. So you could always make the case that the Razorbacks were never supposed to be here in Las Vegas in the first place, that they didn't have the talent to make it this far, all the ups and downs, but it is a silver lining that they did make it this far in the fact that they could beat a 1-seed in back-to-back years despite a roller coaster season. It's just tough to see their season end in this way with such a lopsided blowout loss. But with Eric Musselman at the helm, making 3 straight Sweet 16s, you got to believe that the future is still bright there in Fayetteville. But hey, let's go and send it out to Gary Burton Jr. to get some reactions from some Hog fans.
Fox 16's Nick Walters, who's in Las Vegas and who has been covering the Hogs all tournament. Nick, tough game, and we hate to see it end like that.
Yeah, Madison, witnessing that in person, it really was gut-wrenching. And anyone from home who knows what the growth spurts that this Razorbacks team has gone through, the growing pains, losing Nick Smith, losing Trevin Brazil for this season, all the adversity that this team had to go through, and then catching fire, somehow finding magic within not just the SEC tournament, but there in Iowa to knock off 1-seed Kansas. Anticipation was sky high heading into this one, and no Razorback fan thought that it could play out like this, a blowout blowout, lopsided 88-65 loss, especially considering the fact that early on in the game, it was close until UConn had a Ron Burgundy moment saying, boy, that escalated quickly when they went on a 14-0 run, and all of a sudden, the Razorbacks were trailing by 17. Now, of course, at that Kansas game last week in Iowa, the Razorbacks also found themselves in a double-digit hole and became the first team ever in the NCAA tournament to beat Kansas when the Jayhawks had a halftime lead. So when you're sitting there at halftime thinking, okay, the Hogs aren't playing well, we just saw them come back to win just 1 week ago. So I never lost hope, and many Razorback fans didn't either, but it became very apparent that hope was lost in that second half, and this season would come to a close, ultimately with, again, an 88-65 loss. A very tough night for Devo Davis. Nick Smith bouncing back in some way with 11 points, but overall for this team, it's tough to stomach when your season ends, when there was so much hope going in to Las Vegas.
I really haven't processed in my mind yet. I'm just still in just in the moment, just trying to I don't know. It was tough for sure. Just seeing, guys get emotional and stuff like that, and I try not to get a little emotional, but it's been a good year for us.
Our goal is not to just make the tournament. Like, our goal is to win it all. So for us to come short of that, is a little disappointment for us. For us to go out the way we did, it lights a fire underneath, everybody who's competitive. And if you're competitive and you want to win as bad as you say you do, then you're going to come back with a vengeance, and you're not going to let anybody get in your way.
So many Hog fans are so invested in this team, and that's why it is a gut punch for anybody who watched. But the season comes to an end, and the roller coaster that it was ends up being landed against UConn in the Sweet 16 as Arkansas can't make that third straight Elite Eight.
The Razorbacks were an 8th seed coming into the tournament with a rocky finish to their regular season and a disappointing SEC tournament. And even though all of this was stacked against them coming into the dance, they put it behind them, upset a 1 seed, and made it to the Sweet 16. So go ahead and talk to me about this team's vigor and fight.
Yeah, so many times when you see an 8 seed do what this Arkansas team has done, come back against Illinois to win and then shock the nation against 1 seed Kansas, usually they're entering the big dance with some kind of momentum. That wasn't the case with Arkansas. They had lost 4 of their last 5 going into the NCAA tournament. So it seemed like, not that hope was lost, but people were not confident that they could actually compete with the likes of Kansas. And it seems like the worries behind this team, the lack of chemistry without Nick Smith in the roster, his rocky return, this team having to alter how they play. The teams that make national championship runs, they lean on veterans, they lean on chemistry that they had built throughout the season. And of course, losing Brazil at the beginning of the season, that did not help. So at the end of the day, the team had the talent all along. That's why they were seen as national championship contenders. But the season just did not go the way it was supposed to. Hey, though, we are in Las Vegas right now for Sweet 16, and many other teams in the nation just can't say that.
I totally agree, Nick. Thanks again for all your coverage these past 2 weeks.
Well, we are back at the scene of the crime from last night when the Razorbacks March Madness run came to a screeching halt with a blowout loss to UConn. You already know the numbers, 88-65, UConn over Arkansas, that's your final score. Plus the Razorbacks being outscored in the paint, 42-24, absolutely bullied by the 4-seed Huskies. Now, Ricky Council told us that during the team's preparation, they noticed that UConn really didn't have any weaknesses, and they would have to play their A game, if not an A-plus game. That just didn't happen. But now that time has passed, let's look at some silver linings. Nobody in the country expected the Razorbacks to be in this spot right here after dropping 4 of their last 5 games heading into the big dance. But there were many roadblocks and adversity to go through for this Arkansas team, and yet they still made it to this point, knocking off 1-seed Kansas in the process. We talked to the Razorbacks after the game. They said it was a gut punch, but they're still proud of what Eric Musselman in this squad has accomplished.
It was tough for sure. Just seeing, guys get emotional and stuff like that, and I try not to get a little emotional, but it's been a good year for us. Just in spite of the record or what anybody got to say about us, I feel like we lived up to what we should have done. Especially when we have injuries and stuff like that. But I feel like we had a good year. It's been a roller coaster, but when you have adversity, you get to see who you really are. And I feel like this team has came a long way. And just competing with one another and just believing in one another. And, I'm just thankful to, just to be a part of it.
Even if you are down, like, you can always fight back. Whether that's not just in basketball, but it's in life. You're never all the way down. If you're living, then you still can fight your way back up through anything. And that's what we did the whole season. And then eventually, when it came down to this, we just didn't have that extra fightiness to just come back. Me being Nick, like we talked about it before the season, like our goal is not to just make the tournament. Like, our goal is to win it all. So for us to come short of that, is a little disappointment for us.
So you can look at it one of two ways. A, the Hogs laid an egg and came up short on the biggest of stages, failing to make the Elite Eight for the third straight year in embarrassing fashion. Or B, despite the roadblocks, despite the obstacles, the Hogs made it to this point and gave fans and these teammates a memory they'll never forget in Des Moines, and unfortunately just couldn't play their best game in Las Vegas when it mattered most. That's the way that these Razorbacks will like to remember this trip.
Everybody has their ups and downs. This is another down of the season. Unfortunately, this is just the down at the end of the season. But for us to go out the way we did, it lights a fire underneath everybody who's competitive. And if you're competitive and you want to win as bad as you say you do, then you're going to come back with a vengeance, and you're not going to let anybody get in your way.
One other silver lining that these Hog fans have in mind is that they're flipping the page to baseball season, and the Diamond Hogs have a top 5 team in the nation. But just for a second, let's look ahead to the future for this Razorbacks basketball program. Of course, with Eric Musselman at the helm, this team is always capable of making a deep run like they've done for the last 3 seasons. But this roster, we don't know who's going to be back. Nick Smith Jr., Anthony Black, Jordan Walsh, the 5-star freshmen, will they return or go pro? How about the veterans, Devo Davis, Ricky Council? Will they be back? These are answers that we just don't have at this moment, but we do know that other freshmen like Joseph Pinion, Darian Ford, and Barry Dunning have developed through the season, and as of now, looks like they have bright futures on this Hogs team. And also, we have other 5-star freshmen coming in like Bay Fall and Layden Blocker. So for the moment being, it looks like this Hogs team has a chance to get back to this kind of stage next season, and that's the plan.
Those times I was out, in the season, during the off season, man, it took a toll on me, as it will anybody. But hopefully, there'll be no injuries next year, and I'll be ready for sure.
Obviously, I'm gonna get right back in the lab and figure out my weaknesses that I have in my game. I kind of have an idea now. I'm just talking to the coaches. They're putting a plan together for me to be able to fully maximize myself, maximize the summer. So I'm excited to get back on the grind and come back and be able to do whatever it takes to win, wherever that leads me.
Sure, Hog fans who made the trip to Vegas might have not got what they paid for. And for anybody back home who's invested emotions into this team, it really stinks to see these kids go out on that ugly note. But I would dare to say that you have to be proud of this team who's fought so hard to get to this very point. And it's still looking up for the Must Bus. From Las Vegas, it's Nick Walters. Madison, we'll send it back to you.